Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So I bought myself a new alcohol stove. This is made by the Japanese company Evernew. It's made out of titanium, it's ultra lightweight and ultra expensive. But I've been using it up here in the woods for the past couple of weeks, and I thought, well, I'll bring the camera along, I'll give you a look at it, and I'll give you a look at the stand that I've got for it as well, and we'll compare it to the classic Trangia brass alcohol burner. So what we'll do is we'll go through the specs of these two units, some of the pros and cons of using alcohol burners, and then we'll put them side to side and see which one boils water the fastest, and we'll see which one is the most efficient. Well guys, let's have a look at the Trangia unit first. So you've got the 0.9 litre kettle here, which is made out of aluminium. Now this weighs 175 grams, so fairly lightweight, and you can pick this up for around £12, so reasonably priced. Now inside we've got the burner. Now the burner, it weighs about 110 grams, and you can pick these up for anywhere between £12 and £15. And then in here I've got the stand, the Trangia triangle. So I'll just give you a look at how this sets up. So that inner section just kind of slides in there, and there you have it, fairly straightforward. You just pop your burner in there, and then you can get your kettle on top. Now the triangle itself, you can pick these up for around £25, and they weigh 115 grams, so you can get this entire kit for about £50, and it weighs 400 grams. So it's not really that light, but it's not that heavy either. Very popular little unit. I'll just give you a look at the burner itself. So the Trangia burner, it comes with a simmer ring here, which you can adjust the temperature of the burner or the flame size if you want to simmer food, and then you get a cap. Now the benefit of this burner over the Evernew one is that you can just keep the fuel inside. So you've got one ring of jets around the top, and you've got a rubber seal in the lid. So that's the Trangia unit. Now what you can do, if you don't want a 900ml kettle, you can use the 600ml from the 27 unit. Now this is going to save you a few grams. I think it weighs 127 grams, this one, and it'll hold 600ml, which if you're just out on your own and you want a coffee in the morning, and if you want to rehydrate a freeze-dried meal on the evening, then I'm guessing 600ml is enough for one person. Right, so that's the Trangia gear. Now we'll have a look at the Evernew burner in its stand. So the Evernew stuff, I've got a couple of the pots here. They're both mug pots. This is the 900 mug pot, and this is the 500. So that's pretty much the same size as the larger 25 Trangia kettle, and this one holds 550ml, so it's pretty much on par with the Trangia 27 series kettle. Now inside here we have the burner and the Evernew TI DX kit or stand. Now there's a number of different components to this unit here. You've got the burner, which fits into this bottom section here, and then you've got the stand which goes on top. Oh, it goes that way. And then you've got what they call a turbo plate. Now some people think that this kind of helps project the heat up towards the bottom of the pot, but others say it should only be used in really cold conditions and helps push the heat back down onto the burner. But either way, it fits in there like that. And on the bottom of these pots, if you look at the 550, you've got this rim here, which will sit perfectly on top of the DX stand. So if you are heating your water on slightly uneven ground, the pot's not going to fall off. And on the 900, if you look underneath, it has a ring there, which again fits on top of the stand, so it's just a little bit more secure. Now the interesting thing about this DX kit is that it can be used as a kind of like a multi-fuel stove as well. You've got this little hole here on the side, so you can remove the alcohol burner. You can take the turbo plate and just slot it into the bottom here. You can see there's a little bit of a gap there. You can put that on top, and then you've got a little wood burner. You can feed twigs in through the bottom and put the mug on top to heat your water that way. And you can also use an S-bit burner in there as well. So it's a pretty versatile kit. So when it comes to looking at the weight of this kit, the Mugpot 900 weighs 99 grams, so really lightweight. And then if we look at the DX kit and the 500 pot, this weighs 75, this weighs 34, and the DX stand weighs 52. So this whole little kit here weighs 161 grams, which is incredibly light. So right, let's have a look at the pros and cons of this alcohol burner and stuff then. Starting to get a bit cold. I'm also having a hard time recording here. There's some work getting done down that end of the woods, and the guy's got a lot of heavy machinery and he keeps driving up and down here, but he's got a radio blasting out. I think he's playing absolute 80s or something like that. The music's awful. He's just gone down now, so I've got a few minutes before he comes back. So pros and cons of using an alcohol stove. The pros are definitely the fuel. Most people these days will use the bioethanol spirit fuel over methylated spirits for a couple of reasons. One is that this stuff burns cleaner, it doesn't smell nowhere near as nasty, and it's actually cheaper, I've found. This is the Vango stuff, but I don't think they make this anymore. But there's a company called Fire Dragon, and you can pick up a litre of their bioethanol for, if you look around online, anywhere between £4 and £5 for a litre. And I found in my local hardware shop they're selling the purple meths for, I think it's £3.50 for 500 ml. So yeah, the price of this stuff has come right down recently, so it's definitely better stuff than the meths. Now another advantage is you can just take what you need with you. I mean, I've got this little Evernew container here, so this has got 100 ml in it, or it's 100 ml capacity. Now I think that's all I'll need for an overnighter. 30 ml should boil me 300 ml of water easily enough. I mean, I've been using gas burners now for a couple of years really, and what I found is that I just end up with tons of these with still some gas in them, because you kind of think like, oh well, is there enough in that to get us through my wild camp? So sometimes you take another one with just a little bit in, so you're taking 2 gas canisters with you. The canisters themselves are pretty heavy, and they're also getting fairly expensive these days as well. So I think it's easier on the wallet and lighter on the pack to just use some bioethanol and use a spirit burner. But it's not all great. There are some downsides of using a spirit burner. One of them is that it's going to take you a lot longer to boil your water. To boil 400 mils of water, I was doing some tests a few days ago up here actually, and it was taking about 7 or 8 minutes, whereas you could probably get that job done within 2.5-3 minutes with a gas burner. So yeah, you do have to be a bit more patient, but there's also some other issues as well, which around safety, which we'll come to now. So there's definitely a few more safety considerations, I think, when you use an alcohol burner compared to a gas stove. Similar to a gas stove, you don't want to be using it inside your tent. It gives off all kinds of nasty fumes that you don't want to be breathing in. Plus there's a risk of burning down your tent. But I think that risk is much bigger with an alcohol stove. I've got my Vango Omega 350 tent set up here because I had my brother sleeping over in the woods at the weekend and couldn't be bothered to take it down. But I'll use it as an example. Like, we've got a footprint here in the porch. You don't want to put a stove, either a gas stove or an alcohol stove, directly onto your footprint. And that's just in case you get a gust of wind coming through, lifts the footprint and knocks your stove over while it's on. Now with a gas stove you can probably grab it and turn it off. With an alcohol stove you're going to be in a world of pain, because that alcohol is going to go everywhere and start burning. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fill the Trangia full of fuel, light it, we're going to knock it over and just see how devastating it can be. So that burner is blooming now. Now I've got some gloves on, I've got safety glasses on as well. I'm not a complete idiot. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tip this over and you can just see the effect that it would have if this was to happen in your tent. Just move the camera back a little bit there. So as you can see, that is just not good. Well guys, I've got 30ml of alcohol in the stove here. I'll start the stopwatch and see how long it takes to boil. 300ml of water, which is what I like for a coffee in the morning, so we'll get that on and we'll start the stopwatch. But we're almost at the 4-minute mark now. I can hear it starting to boil, so that's not too bad. The good thing about this little 500 pot is that you can just use it as a mug as well. So I've just got one of those tailless coffee bags here, so once this boils I just chuck the coffee bag in and I can use that as the mug. 5, 11, 12, 5, 13, so I'm going to say 5 minutes 20 seconds for 300ml of water, and that is now boiling away. So there's not that much fuel left. It's just about to burn out, I think. Well folks, we've got the Trangia triangle set up. We're just going to pour in 30ml of fluid there that I've measured out. Now, I forgot to mention, on the Evernew stove it has markings on the inside. You've got 30 and 60ml markings, so it makes it easy to fill up. There we go, that'll do. Pop the kettle on, I'll start the clock. We're just about to hit the 5-minute mark now. I would say that's boiling exactly 5:20. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snuff it out now and we'll see just how much fuel it's used. Ouch, you bastard. Well, I'll shoot this bit again. I just reached in to have a look to see how much fuel was there, and my thumb just landed right on the edge of the stand, so I burnt myself. Be a bit more careful this time. So there's quite a bit of fuel left in there, mind. Well, that's a lot. I would say that's around maybe 10ml. Well guys, that is the burn test done. So the Trangia, it matched the Evernew in terms of speed. 5 minutes 20 seconds each to boil 300 ml of water. The only difference was that the Trangia proved to be slightly more efficient. There was somewhere between about 7 and 10 ml of alcohol left at the end of that, and the advantage is you do have a cap for the Trangia, so you can just seal that alcohol in and use it again next time. But I suppose we've got to be careful really. If you look at the kettle, it's got a much wider surface on the bottom, so that's going to spread the heat. It's going to be more efficient compared to the you know, the Mugpot 500, which you can see the size difference. So that might go somewhere to explaining the added efficiency. So there you have it, the ultralight versus the ultra classic. Is there any difference in terms of performance and efficiency? Not really. The Trangia was slightly more efficient, but it's nothing to write home about. They both boiled the same amount of water in pretty much exactly the same amount of time, and they're both solid units. This one's been around for 10 years, these have been around forever. I think the only reason why you would choose this one is just to save weight. The burner, the DX stand and the mug pot, 161 grams, that's phenomenal, but it does come at a price, around £130, anywhere up to £200 depending on where you buy it from, so it's pretty expensive. Trangia on the other hand, you can get the burner, you can get the stand, you can get a kettle for around 50 quid. Yeah, it's going to be a couple of hundred more grams, but if that's not important to you, it's still a cracking little unit. So yeah, there you have it folks, two very different burners, very different prices, but pretty much do the same job. So I'm going to have to take that tent down now and then I'm going to shoot off. So as ever, thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you again in the next one.